Tapping in APLers back with a week 6 preview after taking a couple weeks off due to the Vikings playing at 8:30 in the morning. Now we have some other game playing at 8:30 in the morning, which also sucks. If we just play at noon and 3 and Sunday night and Monday night, just one game on Monday night, please, and Thursday football would be great. But we're never going to get that. So we'll go through what happened last week quickly and then go through the matchups for this week. But first, we'll start on a little bit of a personal note. As Solomon told us a while back, we should share our personal things. So on behalf of Solomon, gave me the okay to share this. But a couple weeks back, sent me these pictures and said that Naomi is definitely getting back to her normal self. So it's a little Friday night session of some wheelchair basketball with Naomi. He said it was a ton of fun, and that she beat him pretty bad in a baseline to baseline race, and that he did not let her win. He blamed his wheelchair. I heard when somebody was there that his wheelchair stepped in something nasty, and that was why he lost. But maybe it was Eric Snow. Can't rule it out. So glad to see Naomi's getting back to normal and having some fun after what she went through. So we will go to what happened last week. So here's the winners from last week. We got a Ross win, Corey, Solomon, Ryan, Daggy. Got a text from Ross tonight. A few of us did. And let me find it here. He said he's at scout camp this weekend, and they're doing a trunk or treat. And a kid asked him why there was a danger sign hanging in the back of his trunk. And so there's a creepy guy hiding inside. Kid sticks his head in, looks for a creepy guy, and he says, "It just smells like fart." Ross said he had just ripped ass in there and was dying laughing. So Sade says, very on brand. So good to know that it's not just in Medtronic meetings. He's also terrorizing scouts with his farts as well. So, all right. So last week had some good matchups. Corey took me down with 11-11 to 993. On the Corey side, Corey came into the week without a tight end on his roster that was playing due to Kraft and Pitts both being on bye. Picks up Cade Otton, who I think on the season had 74 points on the season. He comes up with a 4 catches for 81 yards last week for 166 points. So great pickup by Corey. Everybody else does enough other than Jerry Jeudy. So gets a couple field goals out of Will Lutz. Monra does his thing, gets over 100. Dave Montgomery did come through for his paralyzed sister with a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. The Lions did a good job to make sure he got to do some good stuff to celebrate his sister. Saquon gets 111, Drake May 307. So just enough, 11-11. Good score for Corey. 993, I get nothing great out of my team, and Justin Herbert just sucked. Traded for him, was pretty excited about the matchup with Washington, but they could not protect him. And even though being behind for the whole fourth quarter, just nothing happened. So Corey wins there. Solomon versus Jake. We get the Rico Dowdle game. 257 points from Rico Dowdle. Solomon dropped Rico Dowdle earlier in the week and put in the waiver claim to get him back. Luckily, gets him back. Gets 257. Also picks up CJ Stroud with the waiver wire to cover the Jordan Love bye week for 377. And then Jonathan Taylor does his Jonathan Taylor things for 151. So big games out of those guys to get to 1,093. On the Jake side, we get Josh Allen doing his thing. The newly acquired Justin Jefferson doing his thing with 130. Sutton 107. Ferguson 145. The running backs and A.J. Brown don't come through. So right around 50 points for all three of those guys. So 987 is the total. Solomon comes out the win. The earlier mentioned big bluff guy here, big fart guy, whatever we want to go with, sneaks by the bye week with a 1,061 win to 1,022. This one was interesting. There were no Sunday night or Monday night games or players playing in these games, so it was down to the 3 o'clock games on Sunday. And at one point, it drew even. Goff and Laporta hooked up and drew even, and then Ross just snuck away at the end. Trying to remember what it was, if it was Jaden Daniels or what. But Greg gets good games out of Goff, 325. Quinshon Judkins continues to be a monster with 129, and then Laporta, a huge game with 209. And then on the big bluff guys side, it's a few good performances. Gets Jaden Daniels back, better than Bo Nix and Jake Browning. Gets 305. Genty, 114. Scattaboo gets 100. Marv, 102. Jalen Waddle fills in for Tyreek very nicely with 136. So some good games. So Ross sneaks out with the win. Greg drops to 0-5. Get Daggy and Tank. I think the story here is Thursday night. Daggy rolls with Stafford and Kyron Williams. Stafford just goes nuts for 469. Kyron gets 169. So Daggy goes into the weekend with huge games out of those guys. And gets a 0 from Zach Ertz. Still scores 1,214 points. Thanks to 115 from Rashad White. Steph Diggs looked like vintage Steph Diggs on Monday night with 156 points. On the Tank side, Dan Jones fills in for Caleb Williams. Well, Caleb's on bye, and Indy just crushed the Raiders, so there's really no passing needed. Dan Jones puts up 274. Gibbs is fine with 109. Puka was fine with 115. Kelsey, 149 on Monday night. Just he needed like a 350 from Kelsey on Monday night to win. So Martin Hampton gets hurt for Tank. Darius Slayton gets hurt for Tank too. So we'll just wait and see who gets hurt this week. So big win for Daggy. Huge margin of victory and nice follow through from the Thursday night start. And then the big matchup from the week, Ryan versus Sadeh. Huge totals from both. Sadeh has a 1242 and loses. That sucks really bad. Dak goes for 363. Sadeh's wishing he would have started Baker. Baker had 465 on the bench. 180 from the newly acquired Javonte Williams for Sadeh. 192 for Emeka Ibuka, who's been a monster. Fairbairn knocks a bunch of field goals through for 166. Puts Sadeh out to a big lead. And then Ryan walks into Monday night and throws down 437 from Patrick Mahomes. And there was other stuff on Monday night too. Oh, Brian Thomas was in there too for 84, but really gets the big game out of Mahomes to put him over the top to the big come from behind victory. Ryan also fills in the Bijan bye week with 149 from Breece Hall. Good timing on the Braylon Allen injury to give Breece all the work, and a nice matchup against Dallas to give Breece a really bad defense to run against. Jake Browning just forces the ball to Jamar Chase in garbage time, so he gets up to 156. JSN keeps just crushing with 160. And CMC does his normal CMC thing for 167. We had potential controversy here. Will Reichert misses a field goal that seems to have hit a wire in the stadium that the NFL has admitted they missed a call to let him re-kick that. So it would have been interesting if Ryan would have lost by 30, 40 points, and the difference could have been the field goal that he could have made, but didn't matter in the end. So with those results, our standings move towards here. So Tank and Solomon are 4-1, Jake 3-2 in the Ross division. Ross and Daggy get the wins to go to 2-3, which tighten things up. So, big picture wise, I think Tank's obviously struggling through a bunch of injuries right now. Solomon's team is looking strong. He's got the most points in the division by almost 300. Ross and Daggy get some wins, and they're only a game out of the playoffs. So with Ross getting healthier, get some Kittle back. He's got Jaden Daniels back, get some Kittle back, and Daggy's making things happen despite all of his guys getting hurt a few weeks ago. Over in the other division, Ryan is now in the lead based on the head-to-head win over me. The same record there. Ryan's scoring a shitload of points, and team is very scary. I'm 3-2, lost my last two games, and then today's 2-3. Seems like should be record should be better than that with the points putting up, and the team looks strong too. Corey tied us today, 2-3, and then Greg will get a win at some point here. So it's been a rough start. All right, on to the matchups for the week. First, we'll go with Ross versus Ryan. I don't normally go with the picture of the dude who's already played, but man, the Dart and Scataboo or Scat have really been all over the place for the news this week. So I figured we'd go with Scat, who just, I don't even know what to say about that dude, but big game on Thursday night. All right, so Ross 2-3, Ryan 3-2. So we got on the Ross side of the ball, Jaden Daniels against the Bears on Monday night. Seems fun. 314 projection. Seems like they could go a little higher than that. Just hoping that game is fun and upbeat, up in pace, and also hoping that Jaden Daniels has somebody to throw to. He's got McLaurin out and Noah Brown out, and Debo sounds like he's on the fence right now with some type of heel issue. So it could be scary if there's nobody to throw to. Ashton Genty gets the Titans. They're, I think, the worst run defense now. So if not now, when for Ashton Genty? So big total there projected for 125. Scataboo crushes the Eagles on Thursday night for 3 touchdowns and 99 yards. And looks good. Wonder why he lasted till the 4th round. Wide receiver, Ross is filling in Kendrick Bourne, hoping to recreate the Thursday night magic from last week, where he was the only warm body that was able to catch the ball really for the 49ers. And see how that goes. The Bucks run defense is really good, so as long as Mac Jones can stay upright, it should be okay for Bourne. Over 64 should be doable. Marv has kind of come to life lately. Gets a matchup on the road against the Colts. We'll see. I think Kyler's supposed to play. Maybe it'd be better if he doesn't. I don't know. But Marv's been showing some life lately. Waddle, really good last week, taking over as the focal point in the passing game. So it feels like 78's a little bit low. The Chargers playing at home against the Chargers should be a good matchup there too. Tight end, we desperately need to get Kittle back in the lineup here. This isn't great to start Jake Tonjes, but he's been okay, and the waiver wire is rough, but it's a little scared of the Jawan Johnson matchup, he's kind of fallen off after big first 3 weeks. So we'll see what old Jake has to offer here. He's got 139 and 109 in the last 2 weeks. So maybe we can keep that magic going. Kicker and defense, not much to note other than Ross still trusting Tyler Loop, who has Cooper Rush playing quarterback. They scored 10 points last week and looked awful. On the Ryan side of the ball, it's really good everywhere. Tight end might be a little scary, but anyway, home against the Lions. Yeah, all good there. It should be a fun game on Sunday night, and lots of points scored. McCaffrey against the Bucks. Tough run defense, but it doesn't matter. McCaffrey catches a pile of passes. I think it's something like in standard scoring PPR leagues that McCaffrey's if he was just a wide receiver, he'd be the number 8 wide receiver on the season. So he has 100 more receiving yards than rushing yards right now, and 3 receiving touchdowns, 0 rushing touchdowns. So don't really think that matchup is going to matter too much. McCaffrey's just an auto start. Awesome. Bijan gets the Bills. Yeah, he's really good too. So not much to say there. They're both going to crush. Jamar Chase gets Joe Flacco now. It's on like, saw a picture of Flacco flying like coach. So Bengals continue to stay classy. But you get Flacco, excuse me, coming in here on like 3 days that he's been with the team. I think he just like chucks it to Chase the whole day, but maybe there's some risk there. JSN doesn't matter. He's going to crush. Brian Thomas has been fine. Probably not what Ryan was hoping for, but I'm assuming he goes to the bench next week when Rashee Rice comes back. Ryan picked up Theo Johnson this week. Thought he was going to start him. Didn't. 56 points for Theo Johnson on Thursday night. Mason Taylor gets the start. He's had 135 2 weeks ago, 145 last week. So keep that trend going. Gets the Broncos this week. Tougher matchup. Kickers defense is the same. For the kickers this week, I used their average point total for the week instead of just the standard 75. So this looks like is Ryan crushing Ross. So Ryan's going to score over 1,200 points according to this, and Ross is just under 1,100. So decent week for Ross. So, 1093 is a good projected total, but Ryan's team just doesn't really have a weakness. And I would be surprised if, look at the names on Ryan's roster is going to beat a roster that has Kendrick Bourne and Jake Tonjes starting. So we'll go with Ryan there. Next matchup is Sade versus Tank. Mecca Ibuka. It's been awesome. Gibbs, one of them few people remaining on Tank's team that have both legs that are functional. Sade 2-3, Tank 4-1. So Sade's rolling with Bake here instead of Dak. It's probably like a tough call every week. Dak has the Panthers. Sounds like a good matchup, but Panthers haven't given up a ton of passing yards to everybody, mostly because they suck and nobody needs to pass against them. Tua had 348 last week, but everybody else is under 300 points. They've faced tough guys like Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, Michael Penix, and Drake May. But anyway, so it's probably just tough to bench Baker. 313, 316, 354, 465. This is the 49ers in a game that should score plenty of points. So like that one for Baker. Achane against the Chargers. It's just fun. It's been a little, maybe not as good as today was hoping for this year. 72 points last week. Still had 6 catches, 30 yards, and a really nice touchdown catch. The rushing just hasn't really gotten going. So remember his rookie year and Solomon had him, and it was just like they handed him the ball and it was like 15 yards automatically. It just hasn't happened in the last 2 seasons, but still think he's really good. Chargers run defense has been toughish, except for last week. JCM, Bill ripped him last week. So see if Achane can do that. Javonte Williams, we'll start him against the Panthers. That sounds like a lot of fun. Really good matchup. Ibuka has been pretty much unstoppable. He's got week 2 is 53 points. Week 3 was 91 points. Otherwise, we're over 120 points every week, including 192 last week. So love that play. Tet against the Cowboys. Sorry, his mom does not want him to be called Tet. Tetaroa McMillan against the Cowboys. Still waiting for the kind of like a breakout game. It's been fine. So maybe this is it. Cowboys' worst pass defense in the league. They ranked 32 against 32nd in wide receiver points allowed. Worthy against the Lions. Again, he's questionable, I think, like as always, but ready to play. So huge first week back with 126, a little bit less last week with 57, but Lions matchup should be great. They're going to score a ton of points. All of this probably doesn't matter because Dallas Goedert got 249 points on Thursday night. It was the Dallas Goedert show. The Eagles featuring him. 9 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown on 11 targets. It's just all Dallas Goedert. Huge game for Sade. gotta be fun coming into Sunday with the 249-point game from your tight end. The bane of Greg's existence, Chase McLaughlin, is today's kicker now. It's been good. Over 110 points is his minimum the last 3 weeks. And another high scoring game, so it should be good. Flip over to the tank side of the ball. You get Caleb Williams against Commanders on Monday night. Should be okay. Commanders have been susceptible to the pass. And it should be a game where you score a lot of points. So like that matchup. Dobbins against the Jets. They're playing in, I think they're playing in London. Whatever. They're in Europe. They're playing at 8:30 in the morning tomorrow. Dobbins has been fine. Like Tate and I were talking about at work. He has his last 4 weeks, 106, 104, 106, 105. So probably 105, even though the projection here says 98. 105 seems like a good spot. Gibbs against the Chiefs. Chiefs have a tougher run defense than most, but Gibbs is Gibbs. He's gonna do his thing. He's except for week 1, over 100 points every week. 109 is his low over the last 4. It's just fun. Just kind of hoping for the Montgomery injury so that he can go nuts like he did at the end of the year last year. Puka for 131. That's seems like a minimum. Ravens defense is laughable. They're getting like a couple guys back in the secondary, but Puka just does his thing. It's going to be fine. Trey Tucker against the Titans. Sure. Had a huge week like 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. He had 75 last week. Tank's trying to find something to fill in here at his third wide receiver with Addison on bye and losing Tyreek and Neighbors. So see what Trey Tucker can do this week. Garrett Wilson against the Broncos. Garrett Wilson's been great so far this year. 122, 54, 114, 108, 97. So looking really strong. Gets Surtain this week, so might be a little bit scary. But should be fine. Kelsey, he's fine. Been over 100 points 4 out of the 5 weeks. So it's probably what you're hoping for there out of Kelsey. So and the kickers and the defense, and really just the 249-point game from Goddard pushes over the edge here. You get 1284 for Sade and 1104 for Tank. So we'll lean the Sade way with the huge tight end game. All right, next matchup, Solomon versus Corey. For the record, took some heat last week that I never pick Solomon or Corey to win. I was claiming it was racism, saying it's the website. One of Solomon or Corey will be picked to win this week. So we can put those racism claims to bed. Solomon 4-1, Corey 2-3. So on the Solomon side, he gets Jordan Love back, gets the Bengals. The only concern here is, do we even need to pass the ball? Do we need to pass the ball more than like 15 times to win this game? Does Joe Flacco do anything to make the Bengals competitive or what? So if the Bengals can do anything to keep the score close, Love will crush. But might be a little concerning. I have Brooklyn Nine-Nine on in the background, and it's the Backstreet Boys Cold Open. So great. Running back side, Rico Dowdle gets to reprise his role of feature back from last week. And this week he gets to play the team that decided that he was a piece of shit and didn't want him anymore. So I don't know if 257 points is exactly what we're going to see again this week, but the Dallas matchup is a good one. So they are 27th against running backs. They get ripped by pretty much everybody. Brees got him for 149 last week. Josh Jacobs went for 201. Saquon for 108 in week 1. So good spot for Rico Dowdle. Doing a nice job of filling in for the number 2 running back for Solomon while Jalen Warren was kind of hurt and on bye and all that stuff. Jonathan Taylor is just really good. He gets the ball all the time, either running or passing. Nobody else plays running back really, so Cardinals are not scary. The ground, he's just like a lock for 100 plus points. So wide receiver, a little interesting. So Solomon trusts Matthew Golden. Ooh, I spelled Golden wrong. That's cool. Um, so Solomon trusts Matthew Golden. I don't know if many other people trust him in fantasy football, but we're playing the Bengals, so why not? Maybe we'll connect on a deep ball and make some things happen. But 60 points is the projection there. Odunze gets to go Monday night against the Commanders. Seems like a good matchup. Seems like maybe matchup proof now, and definitely the number one in Chicago. Confident there. JMO fills in at the third wide receiver spot here. Quentin Johnston had been the guy playing there, but he's questionable going into this week. So be curious if someone's looking at that tomorrow morning to see if QJ is going to play or not. And get him in against the Dolphins, or if we're going to roll with JMO against the Chiefs in a fun game that should be a shootout. So just was hoping for more from Jameson Williams this year, and it's been less. So they got him the ball closer to the line of scrimmage as he's running very fast last year. And this year it seems like they're trying to take deep shots with him mostly, and those are harder to connect on all the time. Trey McBride, he's good. He's fun. He's the number one in Arizona. He's just gonna score 100 points except for last week, but he's good. No problems there. 133 is a projection. Over on the Corey side, we get Drake May against the Saints. Kind of the same story as Solomon's quarterback. May's been really good. Is he going to need to pass the ball much at all to beat the Saints? See if Spencer Rattler can rally the old Saints to against the Patriots defense to score some points. Saquon played on Thursday, 69 points, not great. Someone's got to feel good about that. Corey's not so good. Montgomery gets the Chiefs on Sunday night. Corey has Chuba hurt, Nick Chubb on bye, so Montgomery gets the start. They're just kind of depends how things go. We got a 205 and you got a 116 for Montgomery. We got a 12 for Montgomery this year, an 82, 47. It's definitely not the J.K. Dobbins consistent 105 there, but I don't know. The 80 is sure. The wide receivers here for Corey, pretty strong. Drake London gets the Bills on Monday night. The Falcons have kind of gone, do we need to pass the ball or not need to pass the ball? Feels like they're going to need to pass the ball against the Bills. So London should be in a good spot. Olave gets like 1,000 targets a week. Turns it into like 70 yards every week or 70 points, but he's going to get a lot of targets, double-digit targets. Gets the Patriots. I don't know if Christian Gonzalez is going to play or not, but that might make a difference in that one. Amon-Ra against the Chiefs. Just fun. So it's like a lock for a good game. 100 points. This says 99, but Amon-Ra is better than that. 108, 117, 104, 191, and a 49 in week one. So it's like a lock for 100 points. And Tucker Kraft comes off a bye, maybe banged up a little bit before the bye, but expecting good things. We also have the offset here, the Jordan Love to Tucker Kraft combo. So Corey's hoping for a lot of Tucker Kraft stuff to offset the Jordan Love points and double them. So we add it all up. We get a comfortable Solomon margin of victory here. So really, it's looking like the running backs are a big difference maker here for Solomon. We'll see how that plays out that way. All right, next matchup is Greg versus Davey. All right, so 0-5 Greg, 2-3 Davey. Greg is rolling out Mr. Goff. Goff gets the Chiefs. Talked about this a lot. I think that game will score a lot of points. Chiefs have done a decent job against quarterbacks. Haven't gotten beat up too much this year. You got Herbert hit him for 435 in week one. Trevor Lawrence got 333 last week against him, but otherwise they're not getting crushed. So see how that game goes. Really interested to watch that one tomorrow night. Quinshon Judkins has been awesome against the Steelers, who can't stop the run. should be good. Ken Walker goes against the Jags. That's fine. Just would like him to get more of the carries than Charbonnet, but he's better for sure. Wide receivers, Devontae Adams against the Ravens. Yeah, look it. Love that one. Ravens are terrible. Devontae Adams is good. Stafford's just going to throw the ball to Puka and Adams all day long until they don't need to throw anymore. So really good matchup. Jacoby Myers against the Titans. Jacoby Myers reminds me of Olave. We're just going to force the ball, and we're going to score some points, but not the most points. Titans don't seem like they'll force the Raiders to throw the ball a ton. Devonta played Thursday night, 53 after a bigger game, 122 against the Broncos the week before, disappointing 53 against the Giants, which seemed like a really good matchup. And they had to pass the ball a ton and still got 53. Laporta has been great this year. Again, in that Chiefs matchup, maybe I take that back. Laporta has had 164, 55, 70, 81, and 209. So he was great last week. But seems like he's more involved this year than last year. So the Goff to Laporta connection seems like an important one for this matchup. Eddie Pinheiro, of course, the kicker whisperer Greg, has the guy who was taken over in San Francisco once they got rid of, what was that dude's name? They're Moody. They ditched Moody, and Pinheiro has came in and been doing really good for them. Hasn't missed a field goal. Been over 100 points 3 out of the 4 weeks. So Greg picks him up this week. He's in the lineup. On the Daggy side, we have Stafford against the Ravens. So we've talked about that great matchup with Puka and Devontae Adams. So here's another Stafford to Adams combo here, like we had Kraft and Love in the last one. So how much of the Stafford volume goes to Adams? Last week, we only had 115 of the 469 Matthew Stafford points go to Puka, and Stafford threw 2 passing touchdowns to Kyren Williams. So I think he's looking for that magic to happen again this week with Kyren against the Ravens. Another great matchup. Rachaad White against the 49ers. Rachaad White got all the volume last week. There's some talk about Sean Tucker taking the volume. That really didn't happen. So got to feel good about Rachaad White. Just getting the ball a lot and turning that into points, because it's just what's going to happen, but not necessarily that he's great. He's just going to get the ball on. So Diggs looked like his old self on Monday night. See if that can continue against the Saints. See how much the Patriots really need to pass the ball. And then McConkey against the Dolphins. Great matchup. McConkey's been like the third option behind QJ and Keenan Allen. Maybe if Quentin Johnson is out, that pushes McConkey up a little bit. Maybe there's some upside there. Pittman against the Cardinals. I think Pittman has been fine so far this year. We have like week 1 over 100 points, but otherwise we're in the 60s-ish range in there against the Cardinals. It's fine. And Njoku against the Steelers. Should be fine. The Steelers defense hasn't been scary. Njoku had a big week last week. You're not doing a whole lot the first 4 weeks, but you got to roll with Njoku after Ertz got the 0 last week. So add this all up, and I guess could have just summarized this for Greg like early. Like, sure, I'm just going to say Greg's not going to win, even though I think it's going to happen at some point. So this one's close, 19 points, favoring on the Davey side. So, all right, last matchup is Jake versus me. So we have Jake 3-2, me 3-2. So it looks. This one basically comes down to how does the Bills game against the Falcons go? So we get Josh Allen, James Cook, and Dalton Kincaid all going for the Bills. The Bills are going to pass a lot and be very successful in offense. Jake's going to win. So Josh Allen, 333 is the projection. So far this year, the Falcons are the number 1 team against the pass. They have played 4 games with a bye last week. Big, 283. They played J.J. McCarthy, not great. They played Bryce Young, not great. They played Marcus Mariota, not great. So I'm not convinced that the number one ranking really stands up to scrutiny. So Josh Allen, we'll do this Josh Allen thing. James Cook, really good, except for last week. It's been like over 125 points every week. Some weeks even bigger than that. Falcons run defense, also number one. They have played Bucky Irving, Aaron Jones, and Jordan Mason, Chuba and Rico Dowdle, and then the Commanders trio. So again, haven't been tested a ton by good players like James Cook. So I'm expecting that he'll be just fine. But the real story here is Derrick Henry. He's been not great other than week one. The good news for Jake is he's playing me this week, and Derrick Henry always crushes me. Like it's just the thing. I don't like Derrick Henry. Never really liked Derrick Henry. I have him this year in a couple leagues, so of course he's been not great. For like the first time ever, I've drafted Derrick Henry, but it's a personal vendetta I think that Derrick Henry has for me. So I would expect this 88 to be 188 or maybe 288. So a couple of the huge Derrick Henry game with the Bills going nuts. Jake will be just fine this week. AJ Brown won on Thursday night, got 86 points. It's fine. He had like 70 or 73 yards at halftime. So hoping for a bigger game, especially with the Eagles trailing the whole second half, but didn't work out. DK gets the Browns. I was listening to a podcast this week talking about how this sucks that the Steelers get a bye week after they come back from London and they get to play the Browns. The Browns don't get, they get to play the Browns at home. The Browns come back from London or whatever Pittsburgh played in Ireland, whatever, same difference. Still have to fly on a plane for a long time. Browns played in London. They get to come back and go in a road game. So we're suggesting that maybe this means that the Browns are going to not be prepared for this game. So DK gets, does he get the new corner from the Jags or what? Seems like a good spot. 72 points seems low. Sutton has been good. Gets the Jets. Jets have been not impressive on defense at all. Sauce Gardner, the aura may be gone on Sauce. Courtland Sutton's been good. Over 100 points the last 3 weeks after a 7 in week 2. So he'll be fine. Kincaid also been fine. He 222 last week. Impressive. 6 catches, 108 yards. But otherwise he's been good. I mean, like 77 and 78 are his lows, but other than that, over 100 points. So can't complain too much. And you get the connection with the quarterback. Butker kicking field goals on Sunday night in a high scoring game sounds good too. So on my side, to get Justin Herbert at quarterback, made a move for him with Lamar and Purdy getting hurt. The matchup looked good last week, looks good this week, but their offensive line features like me. So it's not good. He hasn't had time to pass, get hit a ton. They just have been losing. So we'll see what that looks like against the really bad Dolphins. ETN, he's been a bright spot. Here doesn't play all the time, doesn't get all the touches, but it's been productive so far. Against the Seahawks, tougher matchup. Seems like a tougher matchup. Looking at the numbers here, it's not as tough, but Josh Jacobs has the good matchup of the week. You get the Bengals. Bengals are bad at pretty much everything, but they're really bad at run defense. They're like the worst. Ripped over 100 points from both Gibbs and Monty last week. Over 100 points from both Dobbins and Harvey the week before. 156 from Jordan Mason. 111 from ETN. Dylan Sampson got them for 101 in week 1. So hoping for some big things out of Josh Jacobs. Zay gets the ball thrown to him by Cooper Rush. It's concerning. Pickens gets the Panthers. Talked about that a little bit. Talking about today starting Baker over Dak. Panthers matchup sounds really good, but I'm not sure if they'll have to pass that much if they can get ahead. Debo's concerning. He has some heel issue. Hoping to read something today that he's going to play on Monday night, but we're not sure. So I have Debo here, just assuming that he doesn't play on Monday night. And after that huge Henry game, I'll need like, some amount of points from Monday and Debo won't play and I'll lose. So Tyler Warren's been good. He's fun. 124 points against the Cardinals. I'm hoping the Cardinals can actually make the Colts need to pass the ball more than a half of the game because Warren scores more points when they do that. Maybe Aubrey can kick some field goals from like all over the place. So the numbers here are going to have me winning by a little bit and about 50 points, but I don't believe it. So I'll roll with Jake instead. So that's it for this week. Yeah. Good luck to everybody. Hope these injuries slow down. Daggy and I were talking last night about what have been the biggest surprises so far this season. I think just all the injuries are the big story to me. Like almost everybody's IRs are full and they're like big names. So hopefully that stuff can stop because it's more fun when everybody's fun players are playing. So best of luck to everybody in this division against division matchup this week. There's some big matchups that will change how our divisions are shaped early in the season. Either this week or next week, I'm going to try to do kind of like we're almost like after next week, we'll be halfway through the regular season. So I might try to do it next week, but maybe this week too. Next week will be MEA and I don't know if we'll have time. But it's kind of like, how are we looking? How are things looking? What's the preview going forward and all that? So later, guys.